Sam Washington here with the Silicon Valley Black Chamber of Commerce and the Silicon Valley Center for Entrepreneurial Development. Look, folks, don't want to make a complete waste of your time here doing a lot of extra talking, but let's just get right into it. So I'm meeting with some business leaders this evening of some local businesses in the area because one of them was robbed. It was a business invasion in which a lot of merchandise was taken, a lot of tools and equipment to make that merchandise was taken, some documents and papers and things just across the board. Items were stolen from the business, and while the business did have an armed security person on the property, that person found that let's say the number of people who were conducting the invasion early that evening, there were substantially more than the security person thought they could handle. So they contacted the local police, the local law enforcement, who told them essentially, "We're not coming." Sorry about that. We're not coming. Our best counsel to you is that you not hinder them in any way, not resist, not attempt to respond in any way to the robbery, to the invasion. Get out of the way, record what happened, and most of everything that's taken should be recovered through insurance. And that's essentially what the security person told the police, and or rather the police told the security person, and it goes on from there. However, recovering from the losses is proving to be an involved process that may cause the end of the business long before insurance responds. And so the business leaders have asked me to meet with them to discuss what other possibilities they have for securing their businesses, because there are some basic facts that we are learning from this. But before we do that, I want to share something else real quick. In New York City, a minister is robbed at gunpoint during a live stream service. And I'm showing this because one of the things that people don't think about, certainly not in nonprofit organizations and churches and things like that, about protecting their businesses or about setting up a program to make sure that they're secure. It's why you might say, shooting incidents occur at churches with fair ease and with relative commonality in society currently, because people don't expect for churches and schools to have a credible security response. In this particular event, this particular situation, the bishop of this church in New York City, they were in the middle of a live stream service. You can see the video. It's on this page, or you can request it, or we'll go to YouTube because it's out there. The minister was preaching, and right in the middle of his sermon, the gunman came in, robbed him of all of that jewelry you see him wearing there, and as well as his wife, who was also similarly decked out, and members of the congregation. They were robbed, and you can see in the video members of the church, members of the people who were robbing the church coming and going. Not necessarily their faces; they were masked up. But my point is here that people should plan for the protection of their businesses, of their operations, of their customers, as well as themselves, their families, and their employees. Business protection should be a component of your business plan. And that's disaster recovery, that's continuity, that's your business continuing and being sustained, continuing to be maintained through whether it's an invasion, whether it's a robbery, whether it's online or retail. You should have as a plan of operation, as a portion of that plan, a component of it, the protection of your business, the sustainability of your business, and the prevention, or at least a hindrance of criminal attacks and threats against your business. And that's not just from physical attackers if you have a brick and mortar shop or operation or building or facility out of which you're operating, but it's also from cyber attacks. If you are doing business on the web, taking PCI cards and those kinds of things, making credit card exchanges, if you're shipping out property for customers and things like that. That stuff needs to be insured or provided by a credible protective carrier. who will protect and insure the property, whether that's the postal service or one of the other product carriers or service providers who do that work. Most delivery services, that's fine, but as a part of your business component, from the turning on the lights in the morning to shutting down the property at night, and everything that goes on in there in the course of any day. You're working it, your family's working it, your staff is working it, whether you all are online, whether you all are on the web. That whole process should be considered in terms of securing your business, securing your intellectual property, your IP, securing your activities. Again, whether they are online, on the web, the data communications, the data services, there are all kinds of components to consider. That's the kind of work that I do as a strategist. It's the kind of work that I've done as a strategist now going on some 20, 30 years. But my point is this. You should be planning as a business entrepreneur, as a part of your business plan at the very start, or the continuance of your business or your company or your corporation or your government agency, your special government project, your particular church or religious or social organization. Security should be a part of the consideration of your functions and processes. Just sharing a harsh reality. The police are not required to protect you. And that's no dig at the police. That's no dig against the law enforcement or sheriffs or departments of public safety. Court after court, case after case, going back to the founding of this country, the founding of the United States, has made clear that the job of law enforcement, that the job of police departments are not to protect you and me. That's our job. Their job, their charter, go to the city government of your choice. 99+% of them, their charter is to keep order, to keep the peace, and make sure that the policies and practices and directives put forward by the local, regional, state, federal government are followed, and to enforce the law and to respond to people, to activities that break those policies. That violate those policies and rules and laws. That's their job. And so if burglaries are crime and those kinds of things, they're not necessarily required to run right out there and respond. It isn't like that. It sounds good and looks good on television and in the movies, those kinds of things. But that's not really normally what happens. What is increasingly happening is that police and law enforcement agents give you a number and a document and a report. And they ask you to fill it out, and if they can, they have time. When they get to it, they'll try to get the person who robbed or attacked or invaded your home or business. That's the truth. And so, what needs to happen from there is that you are responsible for directly, immediately protecting your business and your home and your property and your merchandise and your tools and equipment and your IP. And until the police or law enforcement arrive and or engage as they deem necessary. The standard ratio between police and citizens is one police officer or one law enforcement officer to roughly 1,000 people. Somewhere 800, 1,000. If you are in an environment where you have a police officer for every 500 people, that's fantastic. That's considered good law enforcement coverage. But let's just say that 20 of those people in the course of every week are committing crimes. That one law enforcement person is going to be quite busy. And them responding to a robbery in your home or your business is probably not going to immediately be at the top of their agenda unless everybody else is just jaywalking and running stoplights. It's something to consider. But the point is, under the Constitution of the United States, you and I are required to protect ourselves, to protect our property, to protect our families, yes, and to protect our businesses. It's hard for people to imagine that, with all the police and especially all the discussions about gun control and limiting all of that, well, one of the things that business leaders need to consider is how then will they then protect their businesses, protect their property, protect their merchandise, even protect themselves and their families, protect their employees, and yes, protect their customers. There are lots of ways to do that that don't necessarily involve guns, and there are lots of ways to, even if you aren't going to respond to a home invasion or a business invasion, to someone attacking you and yours or stealing your property and your merchandise. There are investments in surveillance cameras, all kinds of security, doors and things like that, entrances, that metal detectors and so on that some businesses now use. That the only way to get in is by going through that. It's important to keep in mind, however, that the responsibility for protecting your business in enterprise is yours. Whether that's online, putting up controls on the internet to access and egress from your web environment, from your data service, and providing for secure credit card and business exchanges, providing for secure delivery of your products and services. Absolutely, that is your responsibility and my responsibility as business owners. There's an axiom that says that when seconds count, the police are minutes away. Well, one of the things that people ask you to do is count the time frame in which a thing happens. And sometimes all that's needed is 2 or 3 seconds. Robbed or to be attacked, or at best 15 seconds. Do you think that even if you have access to a phone, the police are going to be there in 15 seconds? Well, if they happen to operate their, if the agency or the police, department is right next door to you, and someone happens to be there, there's a chance they'll get there in 15 seconds. Most likely, it's going to be more like 10, 15, 20, 30 minutes. In this particular case, in this particular local environment where this crime was committed, they said, "We're not coming." Insurance will likely cover all of that. But whatever you do, we recommend you do not resist or in any way hinder the attackers from robbing your business. As crazy as that seems, please remember, the police are not required to protect you. Again, no dig. It's just that the Constitution says that protection of ourselves and our posterity is our job. So, that said, I want to encourage all of you that as part of your business plan, as part of your thinking, as part of your activity in building a business, whether it's a mobile business, whether it's a restaurant truck, whether it's a shoe shop, whether it's a drug dispensary, a pharmacy, a grocery store, or an in-home business, part of your plan, a component of your plan, is protecting your business, is protecting your program. Yes, protecting your mosque, your synagogue, your temple. You should have some protections in place that people can be safe in engaging there. Sam Washington, please consider joining the chamber, joining the center, partnering with us, becoming a sponsor, becoming a member. This is how we're here to help. And so this evening, I'll be sharing with some folks about what the advantages are and also some strategies that we can talk through that are practical in them protecting and fortifying their businesses against. Thanks for listening. Take care.